Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't been properly uploading for quite a bit, and a lot of that's it's all because I've just been a lazy piece of shit, and I've just been playing games and not really talking about them as much. And the conversations I do have about the games are usually with my friends in my close circle, so we'll have really great discussions about the games, but we just won't actually put it into video format. So I want to apologize to all of you who do keep up with my content and who do enjoy my stuff, and hopefully we're gonna get some more stuff out here, so stay tuned for that. But as you lovely people were able to tell by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about the Halo TV show, or should I say a generic sci-fi show that resembles Halo with the armor, and that's really about it right there. For those of you who want the too long didn't read, the Halo TV show for me at best is a 4 out of 10, and the only reason it was a 4 out of 10 because there were a lot of really great scenes or really great moments throughout some of these episodes. But other than that, I mean, the show is pretty much garbage. It's really nothing I wanted in a Halo TV show. It's nothing my friends wanted in a Halo TV show. It's not really anything the Halo community wanted in a TV show. And I don't even think somebody watching this from a more general audience could even really appreciate what this is, because it's just a bad show in general. The Halo TV show is beyond one of the most disappointing projects I've probably ever had the displeasure of viewing in my lifetime. It's just about as bad as Halo Nightfall was, and I just don't understand why we can't make a good TV show for Halo. I'm not sure why we needed a, quote, silver timeline to give us a non-canon version of a already really great story, and that's just the most disappointing part for me. I don't understand why Halo needs to change and adapt for a new audience when there is an audience that would love to have a reinterpretation of the actual games. Like, imagine if the Halo TV show started as, the Fall of Reach book, and then you could transition and have like a Noble team split off somewhere in there, or you could just have it be a Master Chief centered story and just retell the Fall of Reach story leading into Halo Combat Evolved through the other trilogy of games. I don't understand why we have to reinvent Halo for a new audience every time we decide to do anything with Halo. Halo Infinite tried doing that with the multiplayer. Obviously has not gone very well. Halo TV show fucking failed at it. Halo 4 tried to reinvent its multiplayer for a broader audience. Didn't work. Halo 5 tried to as well. Also didn't work. And I don't understand how many times you can do something wrong before you realize you need to just stick to your guns. Now, let me make this abundantly clear. The show is so bad, I don't even know where to start in terms of critiquing the show. But I guess we're just going to go ahead and start where I feel it, and then if I want to take it somewhere else, we'll do that. Number one, the Halo TV show misses the whole point of Halo. The Halo TV show decides to focus on an interpersonal group and focuses so much more on the UNSC versus insurrectionist side, which, wouldn't be too big of a deal, except for the fact that the Covenant takes a total backseat to everything else, and it makes the UNSC seem like the bad guys, when realistically the Covenant should be the main threat here, and the Covenant is the group that is literally trying to totally eradicate humanity. I'm talking a full genocide, burning their planets to a fucking crisp. There is no reason the show should have had the Covenant take a backseat. Hell, the Covenant don't even feel like a real threat in this show. There's so much dumb fucking shit that the Covenant do, and there's so much even more dumb shit that the humans do, that I can't take either faction seriously at all. The Covenant, until I think it was episode 7 or 8, we only had just seen them glass a planet. And in the first episode when the Covenant came in, they didn't destroy the planet. They sent one group of elites on a Phantom to go capture an artifact. We didn't see the Covenant feel like a truly menacing force to fight against. There was one or two really great moments where, these humans got blasted by the Covenant weapons and they just got fucking melted and there was blood everywhere. That shit was super cool. They should have done that on a planetary scale where you see entire cities of people just getting absolutely burnt to a crisp. That stuff would have made the Covenant feel like a proper threat, which would have overall made the show have a lot more high stakes, because that's a huge thing that the show is missing, and that's an overall level of stakes. There's not really any tension of a looming threat from the Covenant at all. It feels like the Covenant and the humans are equals on a playing field, and they're just kind of playing chess here, where you have your pawns go out and fight each other. Like, no, this should have been a full deck of queens pushing a full deck of pawns. And I don't understand why this decision was made. It totally misses the entire spirit of Halo. Halo is about survival and trying to take back and defeat the Covenant. And believe me, there are so many more awesome and cool and realistic themes you could explore with the, genocide of human race, talking about saving humanity, what is our humanity, like they have in the games. But for some reason, they just decided to not go with this plot line just to be different. Another central theme that the Halo TV show totally fucks up is that the Halo rings have zero mystery for them at all. They established very early on that these Halos are going to be weapons. And that was something that was not revealed until I think it was one of the third to last missions of Halo Combat Evolved by Cortana, where she's like, hey, these aren't, weapons that are just going to kill the Flood here. These kill the Flood's food. These wipe out everybody. And that was honestly such a huge missed opportunity, because that would have been such a cool thing for general audiences to actually figure out. And that would have been so much better than what we got with, oh, the Halo rings are a weapon. Like, no, it's just, this is so stupid. I don't understand why this decision was made. These writers have zero clue what they're doing, and they're missing out on a core part of what made Halo originally so special. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and talk about the elephants in the room, and that is Master Chief and how he's portrayed in this story. So, with this story, they decided to totally revert any resemblance to the Master Chief of the video games by immediately in the first episode taking off his helmet, even though there is such a huge importance of keeping his identity hidden in the games. But they just decided to undo all of that in the first episode. There was no payoff, and it was a stupid situation where a girl that's in Innie has a gun pointed right at his head, and he takes his helmet off. It just doesn't make any sense. It was a terrible decision to make, and we're going to continue going into deeper about this. Not to mention Chief taking off his helmet. This man takes it all off. You see his cheeks more than you see him in his full gear. Not to mention he fucks a Covenant prisoner of war, which I'm pretty sure is a war crime, and has a Cortana watch. So let's go ahead and talk about the complete character assassination that happened to Master Chief. So when you think of Master Chief from the video games, you think of stoicism, you think of dry humor, you think of badass one-liners, and you think of a heroic figure that you can all look up to. However, in the Halo TV show, you look at an emotional, whiny bitch, brash decision maker. This is not someone I'm gonna look up to as a Marine, and honestly, it just kills the Master Chief for me. The over-humanization of the Master Chief in this TV show is such a missed concept that they really didn't understand from 343 themselves. Now, 343 began to humanize the Chief more and more, starting in Halo 4 and getting to where we're at in Infinite, and I think this was a good narrative choice. But there was 3 games up to that point where he was slowly getting to that point where he could be humanized. This show starts in the first episode and humanizes him within about 30 minutes of the show's runtime. That is absolutely ridiculous, and it feels like going from drive to reverse immediately. It feels like whiplash on your spine. It feels like your neck breaking. It just doesn't make any sense, and it was a terrible decision to make. To those of you who would defend this and say, oh, it's a video game adaptation into a show that is not canon, to that I have to say, then you must not be a fan of Halo if that's the case. Because this show resembles nothing about Halo besides the armor, some of the weapons, and a few of the places that you visit. Other than that, this show could be passed off as any generic sci-fi show, and it is not a good representation of Halo for general audiences and Halo fans. Honestly though, Master Chief's character assassination is honestly so sickening, and they could have done so much more with him way better, and I think Pablo Schreiber, when he's actually in the armor, does a fairly decent job at portraying Master Chief. However, the writers and the showrunners just totally ruined this. They could have done so much more and even had him take off his helmet, but keep his face hidden and then have it paid off eventually in a later scene or a later season where they actually reveal his face, kind of like how they did for The Mandalorian. And that's the thing that disappoints me the most. The people that say, oh, you can't have a humanized character if they're wearing a helmet. How about things like The Mandalorian? Hell, red versus fucking blue. That has some of the least acting with a body, but still does way more than this show does. And that is the most disappointing part of this. The people that defend that the show writers are lazy and bad at writing. The main thing that I really have to ask after having watched every single episode is, why was this show made? Who was this show made for? And where is this show going to go? Because whatever way you spin it, this show was not made for Halo fans. I don't know why this show was made the way it was. It's just a bad adaptation of a video game. And where's this show going? I hope it goes straight into the garbage can, but because Season 2 already got renewed, well, that's just not going to happen. We're going to have to suffer through at the very least, one more season of this shit. And if they don't turn it around going into Season 2, I can't imagine this show going on much longer. This show is not good at all. I mean, there's like one or two scenes that are actually decent. Like the 2 action scenes in the show that we actually got are pretty alright. Could have got more of this. We should have got more of this. And to kind of run off my point there, the show's logic in general doesn't make any sense. Like when Master Chief's standing up to Atriox and he shoots him in the face but doesn't shoot him in the fucking skull. Or the 3 prophets that are floating behind him that he just doesn't shoot. I mean, there's just so much dumb fucking shit in this show that it makes it almost impossible to watch for anyone who actually enjoys Halo or good TV in general. I wouldn't recommend this show to you unless you like watching 1 or 2 action scenes, which then again, I'm going to recommend you go to YouTube and just watch it on there. I would not pay my Paramount Plus subscription again to watch this show. It was really not good. Even while recording this, I can feel myself getting frustrated just thinking about how much more this show could have actually been instead of the absolute shit dumpster fire that we actually got. The few things that I did like, I really enjoyed the Silver Team dynamic, and I really enjoyed Dr. Halsey and Miranda Keyes' storyline, and I think Captain Keyes also played a very important role, and I think he also did a pretty good job. I want to say the actors did the best they could with the script that they got, but really I just gotta feel bad for them because this show was very disappointing. But no hate to any of them. If you're going after the actors, you're totally in the wrong spirit about this. You need to be going after the writers because they were god awful at this. Anyway, that's all I got for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure you slap like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Make sure you stay hydrated.